Hello everybody! So today I'm going to do a video tour of my Catamaran Momentum, and before I start the tour I just want to say, I did sell Momentum already, but I loved that boat. It was a pretty amazing catamaran, and I'll kind of tell you a little bit about it before the tour starts. So Momentum actually was a charter boat for a very short time, and unfortunately got caught up in Hurricane Irma and took quite a bit of damage in the hurricane, and one of the hulls was penetrated by a log or something, and so the boat was partially sunk. It was hauled out, and in Antigua, as I recall, it was hauled out, and it was then looted by all the locals. So most of the parts on it were taken out, and then of course one hull was sunk. So Momentum had quite a history, but thanks to my friends Steve and Marcy, they came down and oversaw the bringing back of Momentum and gave it the name Momentum, and so yeah, she's an incredible boat, and they started the trend that I continued when I owned it, and that is to create an amazing blue water catamaran. So we're talking about a boat that runs completely off-grid, without any help, solar powered, everything solar powered. Yeah, an amazing boat. So yeah, I actually, after this tour, even did a few more things, and that's going to be coming up on the next couple of videos. I'll be covering some of the improvements I made to Momentum before I sold it even. But yeah, but truly remarkable boat, and with all the improvements, that boat is actually, I calculated, over 1,500 pounds lighter than it was stock, because so many of the components that were put into it are lighter than they were from the factory. So, and the big part of that being taking the generator out, but the boat doesn't need a generator anymore because everything runs on 12 volts, runs off solar power. So yeah, so she's an amazing boat. So without further ado, here you go. Here's the tour of Momentum.
A new place, a new home, for a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back, take my time, just enjoy the ride. A nomad, passing by, life is good, best I've ever felt.
There are, originally this boat had two little chairs that were bolted down right here. Those chairs are still here. They could be reattached in those same spots if someone wanted to. There is a enclosure that drops down that's buttoned up inside this hard top. It's not a full-on enclosure, it's more of a shade for the sun. Helm station. This winch is power. Originally on this boat, this one would have been power also. It isn't anymore, it's manual, but it's not really a big deal because the only thing that you really want power for is raising the main. That's where it's really nice to have, and everything else is real easy to manage with just a manual winch. Here's your sheets back here. Example of visibility from the helm station. Got the 12.5 inch Raymarine chart plotter. Standard autopilot, and here's autopilot. You got the wind gauges, you got depth and speed. All pretty standard stuff there. The Yanmar engine control is also pretty standard situation. And also interesting, this mini fridge, notice that it's not a expensive 12 volt or some other kind of fancy fridge. This is a standard issued little mini fridge you can pick up at a Home Depot. Works great, and if, at any point it's very simple just to get another one and shove it in there. So so that's a simple thing. That this boat has a lot of things that just make it simple and easy, and why make it complicated and expensive. So let's take a walk around. These hatches have just an application on them to block visibility and kind of cut down on the sun load that goes in. So there's nothing wrong with these hatches, just that vinyl application that's coming off a little bit. Tramp's in great shape. No problems there. Head sail's in great shape. No problems there. The best part of this boat, the place everybody loves, is this front cockpit. I'll try to get my shadow out of it. This is everybody's favorite place on the boat when we have company on the boat. This is where people like to keep watch, because we have navigation and radar on the iPads, so you can just come up here with your devices and keep track of everything. Everyone loves to sit right here under cover in the beanbags. That is absolutely the favorite spot on the boat. One of the beanbags just got lost in a storm, so there's only one now, the beanbag chairs, but that's life on a boat. There are enclosures that are concealed under these windows. There are shades that come down. But here's where you can, on either side of the boat, can step up onto the hardtop. There's the Starlink dish. It's mounted permanently right there. Works great. Even under sail, with the sails up, it still works. This back solar array rotates, or pivots, however you want to say it. So as the sun goes across the sky, we can rotate that to face the other direction and keep the solar producing. And there's 4 panels here and 4 panels here. I believe these are 270s or 280s. I forget right off the top of my head. Altogether, it's about 2,200 watts, and it serves us well. The mainsail's in great shape also. Got pictures online of it under sail I took with the drone. It's already rigged up for a head sail. I'm sorry, a downwind sail. Excuse me, for a spinnaker or something like that. So of course all the lines for everything are all routed right back here to the helm station. Okay, so front hatch is opened. Not having a generator means that you have a ton of space up here. On this side, 200 gallons of water storage, fenders. Here's your skipper's quarters. Use the storage, but you can see there's the sink's down in here, sink's still there, and the clothes storage and all, mirror and all that, but the toilet has been removed, and now it's paddle boards and fishing gear and all that type of stuff. The other side is your quarter berth or your V berth, I forget what they call it. And it has a nice cushion in it. I mean, it could be immediately used. But right now it's also got a lot of sunbathing pads and other cushions and umbrellas and other things in it. Also a ditch bag. So we don't have a life raft on here. We have a ditch bag and a dinghy. So notice the size of this hardtop. There's 2200 watts of solar, and there's just so much room up here. And I had calculated a solar installation that would be right up here at the front, in front of the boom, and I was able to plan out just in this front area tremendous amount. What did I have, 2700 watts or something? I forget. And it would all fit right up here in the front. With these modern mono crystalline solar panels, they're so efficient. And so if you wanted to, say, air condition this boat somewhere, 24/7 and keep it cool, the entire boat cool, and you want to do it off solar power, that's where you'd need to add additional here. So you could add a couple thousand watts of solar, and you literally could air condition the boat in a tropical environment off solar power and run everything on electric. So that's an option on here. There's so much room for it. So I know the traditional sailors don't like the thought of this front cockpit, but I'm going to show you this door is ultra thick on here. It has 3 latches and a big rubber gasket, and when you latch all these, it seals right up and nothing can come in. And down here is this big grate, and it just literally goes right out through the boat. Any huge amounts of water can get in here, and they just immediately drain out right through that grate. So that's the front cockpit situation. And these tables that are here, they fold down. So most of the time we do have them folded down, but you can dine out here or have cocktails or something, and I've eaten many a meal out here sitting at these tables. Okay, so I just stepped in through the front door, which is a great thing about it, is you don't have to go around the outside of the boat to get inside. There we go. So forward facing nav station right here, and this is where we also use as like an office. So we have our printer in here, and then it's also where we keep the ice maker. So this induction stove is sitting right on top of the actual gas range, as you can see, and we were getting pretty close to just installing it permanently in here, but we're waiting on the installation of the Balmer alternators, which are going to be our backup power source in case we're having a lot of cloudy days or running low on power, and that we wanted to see how those worked before we committed wholly to getting rid of propane. This is the Ninja Foodie, so it is a crock pot, it's an air fryer, it's a pressure cooker, it's a rice cooker. It does everything in one. Obviously, the other thing we do if we went all electric is we get a convection oven, microwave oven, so that would be a microwave and oven all in one, and then this would just become more storage in here. This is an extended pull out. And then these boats do have this off, the draining basin for your dishes. And then the trash is under another little lid here. So this guy makes a nice extension to countertop space, and when you're underway, it's something to hold on to when you're in the galley. And so from we really like the additional space, although it's not the nicest looking thing. And honestly, it's time to replace this washer dryer. This sucker is not functional. Just like on the outside, this fridge is a normal off-the-shelf 110 volt fridge, and it works fantastic, and it's easily replaceable. It's not expensive. This is an Android TV. Since we have Wi-Fi on the boat all the time, we stream Amazon Prime, Netflix, and YouTube TV, and get all our channels and watch all the TV we want anywhere we want, so that's nice. All right, so underfloor hatches for extra storage in here. This one we use for food. And the other one has got it's like a junk drawer. It's got every sort of supply you can imagine in it. So let's go down. I think we've seen everything. Oh well, main electrical station is right here behind this door. All right, so going down. So this is your starboard. This is the side that was most affected by a hurricane. This is the hole that had a hole. These beds have been modified from stock, so now they're not, they're full width instead of slightly walk around. And these drawers are modified from stock. There's double wide drawers now in here instead of a single set of drawers. There's a hanging locker here, and even storage up above here. Bathrooms are identical in this boat, all 4 of them. So there's a nice shower. There's nice new faucets on all these sinks. And everything's functional as far as the bathrooms go. Oh yes, a very important thing. These Mabrew heat pumps are amazing. So the thermostats in each hall, and the units is right behind here. I'll put a picture of it up there. Same thing. We love this little shark vacuum. It's plugged in, recharges, and has attachments, and works fabulous for the boat life. So this is your forward cabin, and it's not a downgrade from the rear, that's for sure. There's another hanging locker here. There's shelving. It's still queen size. There's only 2 drawers, however, and then some shelves. And under these forward berths is the most huge storage compartment. You could practically have another bedroom down there. You can fit so much stuff in there. The water maker's behind here, and I'll show you that. You can operate it from switches on the main panel up there, but if you need to access anything, this is where you go, right here. Right, so here's your pre-filters, your 5 micron and 20 micron. This would be your seawater coming in right there and going through those filters before it runs down here to the membrane, which is right here. You can control the pressure right there if you need to. Now once you got things dialed in here, you don't really have to ever adjust this. It pretty much stays right on the money, but it is there if it needs to be checked on. This allows you to flush the system with fresh water, and so there's no timer or anything on this. It's just a manual flush, so you turn that knob and you can flush it. And in fact, this little guy right here lets you bleed off if you haven't used the system in a while and you want to just put your fresh water overboard for a minute or 2 before you put fresh water in the tank. That allows you to do that right there with that little valve. Otherwise, when you run this water maker, it goes right into one of the 2 tanks, and that's there's just a little hose, and you can switch it between the 2 tanks to decide which tank you're going to fill with the water maker. So it's pretty simple. And the main pump, the high pressure pump, is down under the floor here, and that pump does run on AC power, but then the inverter on this boat and the power we have, it's not a problem. It can run it just fine, and you don't really even think about it. So you can flip it on and run it anytime you need to, provided that you're in water you want to actually make clean water from. Then it usually runs about 18 gallons an hour. Here's the high pressure pump for the water maker. It's just mounted on the floor here, and there's still a lot of room for storage in here with it. But like I said, the real big storage is under this. Oh, I almost forgot to point out, this little steam mop. Wonderful way to mop the floor in the boat without using any kind of chemicals, and does a great job, and the pads on it are washable, so that's nice. I was trying to think of anything else I should show you in this. This couple things. This table can lower down, but it no longer would lower down to meet these little rails because it's been trimmed to provide for easier access to get in and out. So it's definitely not really meant to be a bed anymore. It's meant to just be a table, and it's easier to get around because it's been I don't know, trimmed to be a little smaller. Under all these benches is storage. This is where we keep a lot of food, and down under here we keep a lot of games, and down under here we keep Tupperwares and plastic utensils, things like that. There's also storage under the nav station where we keep granola bars and cereal and just all these little cubbies. And this side, all the extra kitchen appliances. I can show you that. So you got the food saver, the mixer, the toaster, the top for the pressure cooker, a griddle. I mean, we have everything. The stuff that we use hardly, a lot less is down under the next one. And then in the center is the old Cruise Air, will be the third air conditioner on this boat. And the old Cruise Air unit's down under there. You can see the air intake for it. And that one, if someone wanted to heat or cool this entire boat all simultaneously, then one more Mabrew unit would do the trick there. And that would be a nice option, especially if you have the power to run it all. Like I said, outside, if you wanted to run all that off solar, heat or cool the entire boat for any length of time, then you would want additional solar, I think. Let's talk about hot water real quick. So we're looking at the sink. There are two hot water heaters on the boat. One of them is 12 volt. One of them is 110 volt. And there's another element to convert the 110 volt to 12 volt. So this is one of those things that if you are confident in your 12 volt power, which we are pretty dang confident in, you could certainly then convert that other one. But the nice thing is that if you were planning to be at a dock and you were going to connect to shore power, well, you could save your 12 volt power and run one water heater on the shore power. So I mean, that's an option also. But right now you got either side of the boat. You could choose which one. And honestly, the solar power and the batteries can run the 110 volt water heater just fine anyways. So we still heat all our water electrically, and it's just that this side, when you turn on that water heater, it sucks down some power, but heats up in about an hour, and then you can shut it off. So that's that. Let's go down this side. So this escape hatch looks nice and new. Here's the other Mabrew. And here's your kind of stock drawer arrangement for the bed, but then this bed is also widened to full width. So this cabin's pretty much a duplicate of the other side. And bathroom, same. Like I said, all bathrooms are the same. So they all have these nice showers. And they all have a hatch. And we'll get into this room in a little bit. The kid's here and he sleeps, typical 20-year-old sleeps all day. But that's just a duplicate of the other side, so we're not missing anything. It's the exact same thing. So, as we speak, I'm actually just installing the first of the Balmar alternators, and I'm just barely test fitting it and kind of planning out how the wiring is going to go for it. And so get a chance to look at the engine compartment. Could be a little cleaner in here, but here's the sail drive, the SD60. These are just serviced before we splashed. And then the 57 horse Yanmar. So I put a 12 volt outlet where the batteries are located here, and so we can run our little freezer. This is a 12 volt and great little guy. Keeps everything, has got a display, tells you the temperature, keeps everything either refrigerated or frozen. We use it as a freezer. And this is what makes this boat tick. So these are Rebel batteries, and this would be the same as having 16 Battleborns, but we have 4 Rebels. And Rebel's an American company, but I know that the internals are Chinese. But best we can do, because we love these batteries. We did a very simple installation with just 2 bus bars, so we have equal length cables. Super smart, easy, simple way to do it. And these are Bluetooth batteries, so we can log in and check the status of each battery. We can adjust the parameters of the BMS. We can check the health of each cell. And so just super smart batteries. And 1600 amp hours or 22.5 kilowatt hours. Fits right here and weighs less than the stock AGMs that would have been on this boat. I want to show you a nifty little upgrade on this boat. This little compartment here is where the showers drain into, and there's a bilge pump in there. That's a standard issue bilge pump, inexpensive. There's spares on the boat in case it ever goes out, and that comes on automatically and pumps the water out. So you don't have to push any buttons or have special pumps for the shower, which is a simpler solution and works really well. Okay, I think this is the last thing I'm going to film, and this is the compartment where your bus bars for the 12 volt are located. And so you can see that. This is also where all the solar is routed to. There are 4 Victron solar charge controllers. Here's your Victron inverter. It'll do a continuous 3,000 watts. It has a peak of 5,000, so pretty much there's nothing on the boat that'll ever phase this guy. You can pretty much run anything you want and never worry about it. He's never overloaded it. The sucker handles everything. So that's there, and all those lithiums come down with the fattest cables in here. That's where the lithiums plug into the bus bars. So I'm sitting here in the front cockpit, everyone's favorite place, my favorite place to sit, just relax, and I'm going to conclude the tour video now, but I just not really focusing on just how amazing this boat is. Structurally, she's strong and sound, and mechanically everything works great. Runs completely off grid all the time. We're at a marina. We're not plugged into shore power. We don't need to. We're running the heat because it's cold right now. And the boat's staying nice and warm. It got to 38 degrees last night. So, and doing it all off solar power. We're even cooking electrically. So, you know, it is an incredible boat, and it's lighter than stock. We have the electrical equipment on it is lighter than stock. The batteries are lighter than stock. The generator is taken out. The HVAC units are half the weight of the originals. And so, you know, she's light on the water. Sails great. And yeah, nothing but good things to say. She's super functional. She's been sailing for 3 years and at anchor the whole time. This is the first dock this boat has been at in 3 years. And it's not going to be here long. As soon as I finish those alternators, we're going back out. We're going to be on the hook. We're not going to be at a marina. And that's how this boat's designed to live, just on solar power on the hook or sailing. So that's it. End the video here. Everybody take care.
'Cause I